Sergei, segundo certos analistas, os países ocidentais teriam provocado a Rússia ao insinuar que as portas da OTAN estariam abertas à Ucrânia. Uma das interpretações do cenário é a de que Putin não teria outra saída para manter a segurança nacional da Rússia, a não ser subjugar a Ucrânia, como de fato fez. Na sua leitura, o aceno que a OTAN fez à Ucrânia gerava reais riscos à Rússia?
Let's split your question, Bruno, if you'd allow me, just in several parts.
Okay.
First, I agree with you that the statement of NATO in May 2008 that Ukraine may join NATO was a big political mistake. NATO should say either Ukraine is going to be a member of NATO in a short period of time, and this is the plan of a membership, and let's start implementing it immediately today, or NATO should say Ukraine will never be a member. We will not accept membership of Ukraine in NATO, at least in the nearest 25 years. So that will be a definite, clear position that would benefit Ukraine, benefit NATO, and benefit Russia. Because Putin uses this NATO statement as the precondition for his invasion. Second part of my answer is that if you look on the history of Russia in the last at least 200 years, starting from the beginning of the 19th century, you will see that that other countries invaded of Russia only 3 times. It was Napoleonic War in the beginning of 19th century, First World War and Second World War. And at the same time, in those 220 years, Russia invaded neighboring countries more than 20 times. And each time Russia was looking to grab their territory. So who is the threat and who is the victim? Okay, at least the history shows that Russia, the Russian ideology, Russian mentality, Russian empire mentality was just to grab territories of other countries. And if we try to analyze Putin's concerns about Ukraine as a threat to NATO, you should understand that Ukrainian GDP is 8 times less than GDP of Russia. Ukrainian army is much weaker and it has no sophisticated missiles, and many of its weapons were produced in the Soviet Union. Ukrainian army is smaller, economy is smaller, and you should be a stupid politician trying to go for a war against a much bigger neighbor who is much power, which has the second or the first nuclear arsenal in the world. So I cannot imagine what military threat Ukraine could provide to Russia. And while Ukraine was not a part of NATO, and there was no discussion, and there was no any foreign troops or foreign arms on the territory of Ukraine, Putin could not say, okay, American rockets or NATO missiles may reach Russia in 5 or 7 or 12 minutes. Okay, if there are no missiles, they cannot reach you. And if you are concerned about American weapons, American missiles, or NATO missiles, okay, you have time to negotiate it. Yeah, and we have to remember that several days, just 2-3 days before the invasion of Ukraine, we believe that Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov will meet Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and that the meeting between President Biden and President Putin is on the table as well, will happen in the next maybe couple of weeks. So the West, the NATO, the United States, they were ready to negotiate all Russian concerns. So Putin was not looking for excuses for these concerns. It seems to me Putin was ready to invade of Ukraine, and that was his, okay, I have a dream. Yeah, so that was his dream, unfortunately.